Hello, I'm Kieran, and welcome to the art studio, otherwise known as my basement. So today, I'm going to talk about photography and go over some of the photos that I've been taking over the last week or so. But just before we get to that, let me do like a little bit of an intro and tell you who I am and a little bit of my background in photography. I started shooting back in 2004. I had a film camera, a Minolta something or other, and yeah, I would run around town and take pictures with that, and I would take the film in and I would get it developed, and I would take the photos home, not even the negatives. I'd take the photos home and I would scan those in on my scanner, and then I would edit them. Eventually, I edited them in Photoshop, but I started off editing them in like MS Paint or something, which was ridiculous. And then I would put them up on a forum. There was this website that I was a member of, and they had a photography forum, and we would share the work that we were doing, and we're absolutely brutal in terms of critiquing each other. Like, it was kind of vicious sometimes, but I found it really empowering, and it helped me grow a lot as a photographer and also grow a bit of a thick skin. You know, there's a lot of different types of photography, and I found or felt particularly challenged by doing documentary photography and taking pictures of people. I thought that was the most exciting subject. And so I really focused on that, and I got more and more into it. Worked in a photo lab at one point, but I ended up actually working for a newspaper and taking pictures for them for a bit. And then I did an internship in New York City at 7 Photo. And I did the freelance thing for a number of years. Never made a ton of money. I was always terrible at the business side of it. But eventually, I was really into podcasting. We started this guerrilla podcasting thing, and from there I transferred into more broadcasting, into radio, which is what I'm doing now. So now I am a full-time reporter, and my photography over the last 5 years or so really fell off. It just wasn't like a daily part of the work that I was doing, and just recently I started to pick it up again, and so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna start going out every day and taking photos. And so that's what I want to talk about today, is actually go over some of the photos that I have been shooting in the last little while and talk about them. And I'm not sure exactly everything I'm going to do on this channel. I was thinking that I might show you like everything I have in my bag for reporting, because like I'm super excited about how I've built my reporting bag. That's a lot of fun. Maybe do some reviews of old photos, new photos, maybe try to connect with some other photographers. I don't know, some things like that. I have some ideas, but I don't have it all worked out perfectly just yet. Okay, so I'm gonna go into the photos here, and I'm gonna throw them up on the screen for you there. Okay, so the first one I'm gonna jump into, this is one I took on the 22nd. And it's a beautiful color photo. It's taken just sort of after golden hour and in sort of that dusky time. Maybe that's called blue hour. I guess that fits because the building is blue. I really loved the symmetry that was going on, and I'd actually I started off by taking a photo a little bit further back and trying to get the sort of rows of balconies one after another, but I really loved the orange glow that was coming from all the homes, and there's sort of like this symmetrical element to the photo, but then there's also this asymmetrical, like the lights are lit up in random spots. They're not evenly sort of distributed. And so the orange and the blue coming together, I really love, and I feel like makes it really dynamic. And then of course the sort of coup de grace is the bike going by, and the guy walking in. I saw the guy walking in. I'd taken a couple photos already, a couple frames of this building in a few ways, and I was trying to figure out how to make it just like, get that next level of excitement. And I saw this guy walking in, and I was like, oh great, I'm gonna get the photo. And then a bike comes rolling by, and I was like, yes, perfect. And I got it just in time. They're sort of off. They kind of like balance each other sort of on either side of that sort of entrance space. One of the things that really throws me is that sometimes when I look at this photo, I feel like it's actually tilted, and it might not be perfectly straight. I'm not perfect at that, but I think it's actually the road was on an angle, and so that always kind of like throws my eye a little bit when I look at it. The framing is 4/3, which is something that I've been doing recently. I don't love the standard 4:6 whatever ratio that you get out of a lot of cameras in portrait mode. I find that that's not super appealing. It feels kind of long and tall, but a 4/3 ratio I actually find much more appealing in actually find very appealing in portrait. It feels wide enough without being too tall, and it's kind of, yeah, it feels like there's sort of this whole frame. So I've actually been shooting a lot more in portrait than almost ever before. So that's one photo that I was doing. I'm going to go to two photos now that I took just doing some street photography. I was just I just took my camera after work, went downtown, and was like, I'm going to shoot a couple frames, and I wanted to focus on color and to sort of find people moving through color scenes. I think that my original idea for composition is I saw the garage space and the red brick wall, and I was like, oh, this is pretty exciting. And I was thinking maybe I could frame someone in the black grate. Like maybe as someone crosses, I could frame them in the black grate. So I had sort of stopped myself, and I'd taken a test shot, and I was waiting for someone to enter, and I saw this woman round the corner. She had these blue pants, and I was like, oh, this is excellent. Blue, red, this is gonna have some nice contrast with each other. It'll be really good. And so she came walking down, and as she was getting closer, there was this van that was pulling up, and the van actually stopped because I think it wanted to pull in or park somewhere. And I was like, oh, van, get the hell out of the way. In my head, I was like, get out of the way. You're going to ruin my shot. But he wasn't moving. And then I was like, wait, no, this actually might work for exactly what I need. And I think it actually worked out really great because it actually balances it. You have sort of these two elements that sort of feel like they're at cross paths. They're crossing each other. And, I like that she's sort of under the arch, too. It's sort of like one of those things where sort of a lot of moments sort of came together. So this next one I'm gonna show you is taken just outside of the TD Bank. I don't know that this is like some giant piece of art or anything. Like I do like the intentional contrast of the colors and the shapes that are sort of moving through it. And a big part of what I'm doing right now is that I'm just trying to warm up. I'm just trying to get back into photography and back into being good at this. And it takes practice, and it takes sort of showing up. There was a photo just a few minutes earlier. I was walking down the street, and there was a woman, and she was sitting behind this sign in this window, and she was sort of like eating some noodles or something, and she was just engrossed in her phone. And I was like, oh, that's a great photo. And I didn't have the guts to just pull out my camera and just point it right at her and take that picture. And I just felt shy. And so I decided to go out to focus on color. I'm happy that I sort of did that. I think that these two photos, these are the two ones that I liked out of the sort of, the photos that I shot when I was down there. They kind of fit within that rubric that I had set for myself. And yeah, and I was pretty happy. So, that's a couple photos that I've been taking recently. And my plan is to take a lot more. Actually, I have a new camera coming, hopefully tomorrow. It's going to get here. So maybe I'll make a video about that. And I have some other, like I said, like maybe a bag video, some other stuff. I have some ideas. And I'm also hoping that maybe as I continue to get out there and kind of try to shake the rust off, that we can sort of talk about some of the photos that I'm taking in the future. So I'll put my my Twitter handle in the description, and you can connect with me there. You can also check me out on Instagram, and maybe we can chit chat, and I'll be back.